Suave.
I've been in my bag for a while, I'm invincible. Story of a young boss, grinding shit get critical. Calling on my bros one time, cause you special. I had some hoop dreams of right rounds for my mentor. Every target that I shoot is on point like a pencil. Different route, changed relationships, I'm so sorry. Came up from the trenches and I made it, I say hardly. Now
Football is back, and BetOnline is your number one information source for all of your sports wagering info with all the up-to-the-minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals from the NFL and college football at your fingertips with BetOnline's real-time updates on statistics, news, and odds. From week one all the way to the college football playoffs and Super Bowl, BetOnline gives you access to the best football promotions and contests available anywhere online. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Alrighty, guys, we are back with another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast presented by Bet Online. As always, I'm your host, Andrew Robinson, and before we get into today's guest, this is somebody who I've been trying to track down for a couple months now. We're honored to have her on the platform, but before we introduce her and give her grand introduction, we got to get the business out of the way. If you're watching this on YouTube, I need you guys to stop what you're doing right now. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up on the video. It goes a long, long way. If you're tuning in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. Go ahead and follow the show. Drop a comment and give us some feedback. It goes a long way to getting the show out there to the wonderful lovers of the What's in Your Bag podcast out there who may not know about us yet. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and show us some love. We appreciate it. That was my guy, Pull Up Tay, on the intro. One of the hottest up-and-coming artists out of DMV. Make sure you guys are streaming his music. It's going to be him on the outro as well. Shout out to my guy. He's doing great work, obviously, back home. But like I said, we got the business out of the way. It is time to introduce our guest. This is somebody who I had the honor and pleasure of meeting a few months back when I was back in LA. Somebody who is honestly an amazing person and is doing amazing work in the media space right now. She is one of the co-founders of the legendary platform Swish Cultures that we all have come to love as hoopers, as sports lovers, as just fans of the game. I'm sure if you're a basketball fan or a sports fan in general, you've heard of Swish Cultures. You guys have probably seen the highlights, the mixtapes, the interviews that they've done. So obviously, this is somebody who's had a huge hand in that. Somebody who we're super honored to have on the platform today. So we are pleased to be joined by Ashten Smith-Gooden. Ashten, what's up?
What's up? Thank you for the intro, and your pre-intro was like A1, so I'm still in everything that you did. I'm still in your swag off rip, so don't get mad at me if you see me saying like and subscribe off the bat. So
No doubt. Hey, listen,
appreciate it.
It's free. It's free. It's free game. You know what I'm saying? So man, but like I said, this is something that I'm super excited about. You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
Same.
ever since we first met back in LA, man, you've been somebody who's super high energy. I remember we were sitting up at the Clippers game. I think it was a playoff game. We were watching that playoff game. We was kikiing up in the stands with homegirl that was dancing a couple rows in front of us, living her best life,
Yeah.
man. So I'm excited to kind of just get into what's been going on since then. But kind of before we get into the nitty-gritty of the interview, man, just obviously, summer's wrapping up. We're getting ready to head into fall season. What was your summer like, man? I feel like, for Swish, shooting, creating content, it's never really an off season, for us people in the media space. So just talk about, how the summer was, what you were up to.
Well, let me rewind a little bit further back to when we were at the Clippers game. You remember I was like, yo, whose auntie is over there screaming? And I was like, that's my auntie.
She was lit.
She was lit. I was like, and I remember that time like it was yesterday because it was so funny to me. But yeah, the summer has been completely nonstop. Like how you said, if you're in the media space, pretty much you're going to be in a year-round field every day, multiple posts a day. It's a grind. So it kind of like, we did playoffs. Once the NBA season was over, we really didn't have a break. We automatically start going into the off-season workouts. We do have a collaboration with the NBA, which has been a blessing. So we've been able to partner up with some like one-off content, like standalone content. So we'll go produce it and then we'll collab with the NBA. So that's been really fun. But like you said, it's been nonstop. The guys been working in the gym. They've been grinding. They've been doing their workouts, the Oprah runs, all of that, and we just been up and down the road, day, night, going 60 plus miles there, 60 plus miles back, sitting in hour, 30-minute plus traffic. But with all that being said, it's been such a blessing to be in the position that we're in.
Yeah, that's love. What would you say has been like the highlight of the summer, or maybe like a most memorable moment? Because like I said, you guys are in a lot of gyms, like you know what I'm saying. You guys are seeing crazy guys, as far as workouts or just things that are going on during the summer. So what would you say has been, I guess, the most memorable moment of the summer, or I guess something that sticks out the most for you?
I would say, shoot, there was a lot of like memorable moments when you got the Oprah runs. You'd be seeing like Katie just being OD with ease, and seeing it live is like, wow, what the freak? Like this is why these guys are the top guys. Like they just it's just they're blessed with crazy talent, and plus they work hard, so that's a formula for superstardom. But my favorite thing is seeing like that type of stuff, but as well as connecting with a lot of people, being able to really like build connections and network. And Summer League, I had a blast at Summer League. I always have a blast, and I was able to go with my entire family. So my mom, my dad came, me and Jordan, we always go. My co-founder came, so we were able to see him because he was overseas for a minute. So it was good to see him. I think Summer League for me is always pretty fun. I get to be around friends and work, so you know how it gets. It gets really lonely sometimes. I'm blessed to be around with my brother, but having being able to have your friends watch the games while you work and being able to have a little bit of freedom, that was really fun for me.
Yeah, we've had a couple guests that were at Summer League, and I always ask them like, yeah, "What was your experience like?" Because I feel like Summer League is number one. It's like the NBA conventions. Like I feel like it's
Right.
like summer camp where all your friends are going. I know everybody's gonna be at summer league and everybody pops out. But it's like obviously people are going out and having fun and stuff. But at the same time, for some folks, it's like a crazy grind. Like especially for people in this space, in the media space, and the content creation space. It's like all right, you're going to game, but you're creating content. You're up late editing, posting. If you're a
Yeah.
manager, you're like monitoring players. They might have a late night request. We are talking to Jessica Slate last week on the podcast, and she
Mhm.
does like a bunch of like player management stuff. She's talking about guys are hitting it with like last minute requests, trying to get a table at like Noble or Catch or whatever the case may be. It's like
Right.
nonstop stressful. So, what was your summer league experience this summer? Um, I know, like I said, it's a lot of work, but a lot of play as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Vegas is the city that doesn't sleep. You know what I'm saying? So, who was your summer league experience like?
So it was just like busy. Like as soon as we got there, it was like we get to the hotel. Granted, I believe we got there a day before, so we were able to kind of like settle down and stuff. But as soon as like that first Friday hits, get up, eat if you can, go to the gym. Mind you, as soon as you leave outside the hotel, you're sweating bullets. So you're like, God damn, like this is already the energy that I gotta go into. And then there's games back to back to back, and then you try to figure out like, okay, because we like to do interviews. We don't just like film everything. We want to do the interviews. We want to do everything. And then we're also the founders. So we got a network because we're trying to put our business on. We're a small business too. So there's only four of us. Um, so all in between like the games, we're trying to edit, trying to post because we still got to be active on our media pages. So it's really hectic, but I would say out of all the places to be hectic, that's the best place because you get to be hectic with a lot of other people around you, and everybody's like feeling the same pressures, or they everybody has their own little things that they have to do that's also stressing them out. So it's kind of like trauma bonding in a way. But it's really dope. I love the experience. So I would say that that would probably be the tough part is just time management for the most part. That's really hard. Plus, then you go out at night, which I personally love because that's where I network the best is by
Mhm.
going to the parties, going to the dinners, going to um just like things that are available to do. Like I'm out doing
Right.
everything appropriate, obviously, but like I feel like that's very important as a brand. Building your brand is just building those connections organically and not forcing it.
Facts. That is actually, I didn't have this question planned, but I feel like since we're on the topic, I definitely want to ask you about it. I think it's a great talking point. You kind of just said it, right? Like networking is such an important aspect in this industry and being able to make those organic connections, right? And one thing that, matter of fact, I think you guys posted this video clip on your page on Swish Cultures. Actually, it was a clip. You guys, I think, had interviewed James Harden's agent, and he was
Mhm.
on the podcast talking about the importance of networking and like, yo, you can meet somebody at summer league and you can see somebody in the hallway and like go up to them and talk to them because you can you can meet somebody in the back hallway in the second gym that
Yeah.
might be able to put you on whatever the case may be. But I feel like at the same time, right, like especially in a place like summer league when everybody is somebody, right? And people are probably getting approached all day by
Right.
people, right? Or people may need a job. People go into summer league to try to get on coaching staffs or whatever the case may be. Everybody's going out there kind of asking for something. So when you're in these spaces, right? Or if you're at an event, if you're at a dinner, how do you balance trying to network, make those connections, and like tell people about what you do with Swish Cultures and
Mhm.
put your brand on, but at the same time being in a space organically and just kind of enjoying the moment, and I guess not feeling the pressure of like, okay, I always have to pitch Swish Cultures or I always have to make this connection, right? Like how do you balance those two things? Because I feel like sometimes it can be a slippery slope where it's like, all right, on the one hand, I'm seeing this person and I don't know when I'm going to see them again. So I do want to try to make like that professional business connection. But at the same time, I do want to be organically in this space and foster a relationship with somebody to where they don't feel like I'm just coming up to them, on like a needy type of situation.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good question. I kind of move around like I don't really ask, like I don't ask for anything. I don't want anybody to like I don't know, that's just personally how I was raised. Like we never really ask for anything. We'll work for it. Like we like even with Swish, like we never asked for a job, we just built it. And we didn't even know that we were doing it. We just rocked with it so heavy that we're like, oh shoot, okay, we can turn this into a business, but we've never asked anybody. So I think going into conversations where just my whole intention is to just meet people. And then if it ends up like there's synergy there, then that's a bonus because then let me figure out how I can help you and then you vice versa. So I always go into conversations just trying to know that person because imagine being in a space where everybody is asking you for something. You will get annoyed. That's just a human response. So I just try to be just cool. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, I never ask for anything. And then if I'm more in a business setting where the the environment is to kind of like business network and exchange for resource purposes, then I'll explain a little bit more in depth about my company and go into like, oh, this is what we're kind of looking for. How can we help you guys, etc. And you could kind of feel that depending on the environment or how the conversation is going, regardless if you're in a business setting or if you're just in a middle of a hallway, you could kind of tell how the conversation is going.
Right.
But I would say never lead into it asking for something. Like you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. So just treat people like normal people.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of hard nowadays because we got social media, so everybody's kind of like, how
Yeah,
do I become a person again?
yeah,
Especially after COVID too. So, but that would be my advice. Just go in as yourself. Don't really ask for nothing. Just try to build a real relationship.
right. I think that's key. And I feel like Jessica said something similar last week when I asked her. She was kind of like, you know what, like at the end of the day, if you build the relationship, then you don't necessarily need to approach the situation like, oh, this is what I do. Like, so you get to know somebody. Obviously, people can kind of see what you're doing on social media and like through Switch Cultures, right? Your work will kind of show itself to where you don't need to like pitch yourself in
Yeah,
every environment, right? You know what I'm saying? So kind of fostering genuine relationships first and foremost will kind of get you farther. So I think that's a super, super dope gem. But before we kind of get into the Switch culture stuff and your personal journey, I do want to ask one quick question that's kind of just relevant now in the times in the basketball world. So obviously right now, Team USA just finished up at the World Cup. We did not medal. We finished fourth. And now all these guys, LeBron, AD, Steph, KD, is talking
oh
about they
God.
might suit up next year in the Paris Olympics. So what's your thoughts on just the whole Team USA situation? Obviously, Noah Lyles made his little comment last week or 2 weeks ago talking about the NBA shouldn't be called world champions because it's not a world championship technically, right? So just
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on the whole discourse right now around USA basketball?
That's really tough. And I feel like it's tough because we work with these guys, so you gotta kind of like tread really lightly. But like if Braun and them, bring the Avengers, obviously, like obviously it's gonna be a show to watch. And when it comes to media coverage, how we kind of rock, is that we try to put out the most positive of each situation regardless. We got Team USA right now. We're going to post the positive about Team USA. We might have the Avenger crew come out next year. We're going to post a positive about that regardless of any situation we're put in. We're going to put out like the best that we can to promote these players, because a lot of different platforms, they just be ready to get the clicks. So we just kind of trying to transform media in a way.
Yeah,
So to answer your question, regardless of what's happening, we're gonna be supportive of the players, of the decisions that are made, and whoever's on the team, we're supporting them. Whoever's not on the team, we're still gonna support them, and just build the whole basketball community in general. So you don't really see no divide at all. So that's our main goal and our main mission statement.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I feel like I love that you said that because I think that I try to take the same approach with all facts because
Hmm.
and I went to school for journalism. Like I have a journalism degree, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, and obviously when you're coming up in like the journalism world and like the news mindset, right? They always say like, okay, you have to be unbiased and you have to report the positive and the negative. And you see a lot of times where it is kind of a journalistic like news value to right, say positive things, say negative things. You kind of have to
Yeah.
report both sides of the token, right? But I feel like especially being in this space that I'm in currently as a player and as a media personality, like I know what it's like when people are slandering people on social media or just
Right.
sitting on players and stuff like that. So I feel like the angle that I try to take, similar to what you just said with Swish, is like I'm gonna highlight the positive about a situation. If somebody's getting slandered in the media, I don't really want to go near it, right? Especially again, like as a player, I always lean more player based, trying to protect players and things like
Did you
that.
hear what you said though? Because you
What?
said as a player, like
Right.
as a player, we all like it was Swish.
Yeah,
We all play sports,
exactly.
so I've been written up in articles where it's like, she's not this, she's not that. That obviously messed with me to a point where I'm like, I'm not doing that. Whenever with whatever situation I put in, same with my brother, same with my other co-founders, same with whoever we bring on. The majority of them play sports, and the majority of us got written articles on. So we were in the forefront before we were behind the scenes. So we never want anybody to feel that type of way. And we're just more cautious because we've actually been through it.
Right.
So I'm glad you said that as a player that you know how it is because that's the truth and that's what you bring to your company as well.
No facts. But I feel like again, I feel like you have to kind of be in them shoes to understand, and those who get
Yeah,
it, obviously. But there also is pushback that comes with that because some people will be like, "Oh, well, they only gonna speak on the one side of it. They're not gonna report like if." Because at the end of the day, we're media, but we are a form of news in a way. Like people come to Swish for certain updates and news and things like that.
right.
So, how do you deal with people who will say, "Well, oh, well, they're one sided. They're not reporting. They're not giving an honest analysis of it because they're only reporting the one side of it as opposed to the more negative things. Like, do you deal with that? Because I feel like sometimes um, I feel like I've seen certain things on social media where people kind of say, "Oh, well, you guys are." Only reporting on the positive stuff that goes on, things like that. It can be kind of a negative thing. Have you dealt with that, or how would you respond to people who say those things?
I would see more so like if we post like highlights, there will be some like negative comments. But like I said, just coming from a background of being an actual athlete, I kind of either take the route of explaining to some people, like, look, da 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 da, or sometimes I don't respond, or sometimes I roast back because like I be doing it on the behalf of the players because I know the players can't really say nothing because they really got to do a lot of like media control. But sometimes like I'm like forget it, like I'm gonna bring that same energy back. And then for the majority of it, they'd be like, "Oh, we're just playing da 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 da," because they weren't expecting a reaction or anything of that nature. And the majority of them that be saying negative stuff just want a reaction. So I think that's really important for us is that we stand firm in our mission of like we're trying to create a very positive basketball environment. And there's other media platforms that will showcase the the not so great parts of it, and that's good. Like that's okay for them. That's what their mission is, and same you got to respect what our mission is, and you already know the vibes when you come to our spot. So I think I think that's what kind of gets us through it is like we just try our best to show the real game, show the highlights, teach the game, really build on the culture of the game. Because you can't really teach culture; it's either you get it or you don't. So that's kind of what we really revolve around.
Love it, love it. So kind of getting into your personal journey, right? You mentioned you play sports as well, and you were a
Yeah.
pretty good athlete yourself when it comes to volleyball. So talk to me about your playing career at Cal Berkeley. I did a little research and I saw that you were first team All American back in high school. You know what I'm saying? You were I think the fifth best at your position. Back in the day. So talk about your career playing volleyball. You know what I'm saying? Because you was like that. You was like that. So I want to talk
Oh
about
my god. No,
your
I
playing
appreciate
career.
that for real. Well, I was just talking to my mom about it. I'm like, dang, that's crazy that I actually played. I haven't touched a volleyball in 5 years. I'm so I'm so freaking burnt. What? I'm washed. But yeah, like I really kind of started playing around with volleyball in middle school just for because I thought it was cute. Like that was a very feminine sport at the time, so I was like, oh okay, like I'm interested. And then I sucked. Like no cap, I was really bad. Like my mom was like, look, you either gotta be show a little more interest or a little more grind because we're not investing in that to be honest. It's so expensive. So I really worked hard at it, and then in high school, I I think yeah, I joined our high school team. And I just made it because I was tall, just truthfully. And then one day I just understood how to hit the ball straight down, and it was like over from that point forward. And then I got like these scholarships to play club, which is crazy because that's how expensive club was. So I was getting like they're paying for me to be on their team. And then by sophomore year, I committed to Berkeley. Yeah, it was just a really fast like turnaround, and yeah, I just really did my thing in high school, and then I went to Berkeley. I had some injuries. The environment was a little bit rough for me. I didn't really feel like I optimized on my full potential there, unfortunately. But, with that being said, I feel like a lot of people need to talk about mental health and sports and how important those two go hand in hand, especially when I played in a predominantly white space. So, the culture is a little different too, and that's very much real. So I feel like there should be a little more conversation about that as well. But I ended my volleyball career the way I wanted it. Shout out to my parents and my family for really holding me down during that time. And yeah, I'm glad I went through it. Would I wish that on anybody else? Hell to the no. I wouldn't, but I'm there for anybody that, relates to it and to just push through and to really, take advantage of, those opportunities of playing sports, whichever level you end up at.
Right. No, I can definitely relate because I went to a PWI as well back on the East Coast. I went to Quinnipiac University. I feel like most folks here are probably West Coast folks due to, obviously you being a Cali girl. Quinnipiac, we're all the way out on the East Coast in Connecticut. We're in the MAC with like Iona, Siena,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like that. So, but you know, I think I think black people were like 5% of the population. I joined a historically black fraternity. Shout out the Alphas, A Phi A, the Good Bros.
I knew you was gonna do it too.
Had to. But it's crazy though because all of my line brothers and like most of my profiles went to Yale, and being so all of our chapter meetings, a lot of the business that we did was at Yale, and being in like a high academic space like Yale, which is also PWI as an African American, is a completely different experience for people who don't really understand that. So I definitely can relate to the things that you kind of were speaking about as far as the mental health things that can kind of go on at a school like that. And I feel like there definitely does need to be a broader conversation about that because it definitely is not talked about enough. And I think that I feel like obviously another thing that was going on for you was not only with the volleyball and the mental health things that were going on, but you're playing, a high level sport, like volleyball, but you're also type 1 diabetic as well. So
Right.
talk about the struggles or the challenges, I guess, that go on with trying to play a sport at that level, but then also while managing your health. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that is something that's a testament to you at the end of the day, like for you to being able to shoulder all that. So just kind of talk about what that was like for you going through that at the same time as well. Because I feel like that's amazing that you were even able to pull that off.
Yeah, it was OD for sure. And so with diabetes, basically like my whole pancreas is shut down. So the normal person's pancreas, whenever you eat, it gives you insulin and then you're able to absorb that energy. But mine doesn't do that. So I have to have an insulin pump. I wear a Dexcom now, but in college and high school I didn't have a Dexcom, which is it shows you what your blood sugar is like pretty much at all times. Instead of always like doing the blood test where you prick your finger and then it'll read it to you. But yeah, it was very difficult because as an athlete too, um, I would have symptoms if my blood sugar ran low, which affected how I would play. So when I ran low, had a low blood sugar, I would start to shake and I would start to um, kind of like zone out. So you really got to pay attention when you're in sports. Like if you're in if you have a play, you got to run. You can't just be zoning out. So I was like, this is so tough for me. I would just keep my blood sugars high, which is not good. The regular person's blood sugars is like between 90 and 120. And I would be running around like, I hate to say it, but like 300,
Yeesh.
which is, yeah, which is crazy. But I felt the best. Like, I don't know if it was because the extra energy that was in my blood. I don't know, but it was very dangerous. And this was in college too, so it was really tough to maneuver. But once I really started to put myself first and not worry, I gotta think about my longevity as a person, not just as an athlete. So I had to really switch up how I was approaching it. And it was dope to see um that when people would come to the games and see my insulin pump, and then we would go to the back and do autographs and stuff, like, they would come up to me and they'd be like, I have an insulin pump too. And I think that made me like super emotional because like I used to be kind of really conservative about talking about it. Um, but yeah, that just made my heart melt, and I was like, I really have to start being more forward with it as much as I can. Um, but now with all this technology, sometimes I'll be forgetting it. I'll be like, what? Because like, yeah, like it would just like this right here. It will tell me. It's like the blood sugar
Mm.
monitor. It will tell my insulin pump what my blood sugar is, and then it'll do its thing. Like it'll try to regulate it on its own. And then the only thing I have to do is, tell it when I'm eating. But the progression is really up there. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. 'Cause I was kind of going to be my next question. Like now that you're not playing, you're kind of in a different space, obviously as a content creator, but even as a content creator, we're talking about it off air. Like it's a grind,
yeah,
right? You up
it's a
all night,
grind.
you might forget to eat because you filming and trying to edit and
Yeah.
post on social media. So like you might not be running around and like sweating and jumping and spiking the ball, but it's a different type of grind because you're still busy. You're still kind of, you might not be thinking about your blood sugar at the same time. So how have you been able to kind of, I guess, stay on top of it while you're doing your thing for Swish? And I mean, obviously you mentioned just now that kind of technology has come a little bit,
Right.
farther now, but I feel like it's a different type of grind, now than it was playing, but it's a grind nonetheless still.
Yeah. No, that's a good question. Like, I think it's gonna be a never-ending battle, essentially. So I just kind of accepted it for what it is. But yeah, like how you said, sometimes I'll be missing breakfast. I shouldn't, but it's realistic. Like I'll be missing breakfast and I'll be starving when I get to the gym before I'm like recording. But what helps, I'm telling you, that Dexcom, the continuous glucose monitor, it really is it's a lifesaver because it will tell me if my blood sugar is about to drop. So I could get some like juice or something that has like a little bit of carbs or sugar to help raise my blood sugar. Or it'll tell me if my blood sugar is high. Like it'll give me like vibrations, or it will send alerts to me. So that's honestly been so helpful. But like you said, like it's the truth. Like the grind it's just a different type of grind. So I do got to be better. So I hope anybody that's watching this knows that you're going to have your ups and downs, just like how life is. And I don't want to be that person that's preaching to you, saying like, you got to be better. Like, obviously, that. Just try to do one step at a time to, you know, increase, whatever that can help you. Because unfortunately, for people like us, you know, we have sometimes complications down the road. So just try to put yourself in the best position now so we don't have to worry about that later.
Facts, facts. Well, I just want to let you know, man, like, my grandma had diabetes, you know what I'm saying? Just like the girls that came up to you when you were playing. And, I think that it's awesome to be able to do what you're doing and be in this space and not, be somebody who's open to talk about it and, share your story, because you never know what somebody else is going through. And I think that I just want to let you know that I feel like I know that there's somebody out here that's going to be inspired by hearing this. So, keep doing your thing. And I think that it's
Appreciate
super
it.
inspiring to be able to just hear you talk about it and be that positive, role model for somebody else. So definitely
No,
want
that's love. And Nick Jonas and Holly Berry are type 1 diabetics too. So,
to
and their schedule is crazy.
hey, listen, if they could do it, then hey, if they could do it, then you know what I'm saying? It's hope
Right.
for somebody,
That's what I be thinking. I'm like, look, they be on stage, they be acting. Look, I gotta get my stuff together for real. I have no excuse.
Oh man. So So now I want to get into Swish Cultures, man, because again, like I said, the hooper in me has been following this page for years, like just the highlights and everything like that. So I feel like when I met you in LA, to be like, damn, that's the founder of Swish Cultures, like that's OD, like, cause you guys obviously like, besides like obviously Ant and Jordan will do the voiceovers and the highlights, but I feel like you guys are posting content. You don't really know who is running the page for the most
Right.
part.
Yeah.
So when you see you in person, it's like, damn, like that's some legendary stuff. So I kind of want to take it back to the beginning, right? Like, talk to me about the mindset in starting this page because obviously you never. I feel like no entrepreneur, no creator is kind of thinking that is gonna have 400,000 followers one day, right? So talk to me about those beginning days when you guys first started, right? Like, what was the goal? Um, what was I guess the conversations that you guys were having when you guys were first getting started?
Yeah, so my brother Jordan, he had this daydream while he was playing overseas, actually.
That's OD.
So, was he in Japan? I think he was in Japan at the time.
I saw
I
him
think
play for a team called Hachioji. They're in our
yeah,
league.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, the B trains, right?
yeah, beach age.
Yeah.
Right about
So
time
he was,
Tokyo.
isn't that crazy? It's such a small world. So yeah, he had like a daydream about wanting to basically bridge a gap between like overseas basketball and like what's going on in the States. So, because as soon as someone crosses the water, it's kind of hard to keep track of them. And plus, I don't know if you guys had this problem, but when we would try to watch his games, you gotta click on a link and you're guaranteed to get a virus on your computer. Like your whole John is like shut down. Like it's over with. So
Treacherous.
um yeah, he wanted just to create a platform where you'll be able to keep track of a lot of the guys that are going on overseas and then some that are overseas that are really rising talent such as Luca. Like he was fighting for his life to explain to people how great Luca was at age 16. So he told me about the idea. I was currently at Cal Berkeley finishing up my last season playing volleyball. He told my other co-founder, Ant Goods, his former teammate, about the idea too. And those two automatically, clicked. They started cranking out highlights. And then while I was finishing up my season, I was just trying to copy like the swag of how the highlights were being created. So I was doing all that stuff. Plus, I went to school with like Ivan Rabb, Jalen Brown, um, who else? A couple other guys too. So once I got my camera, I started doing some a little bit of camera work to get that down too. So once Jordan and Anthony's season was over, I graduated and we all connected and linked in LA. And we got connected to and shout out to the trainers like that those guys literally believed in our vision from the jump. We have Phil Handy, super shout out to Phil Handy, Chris Johnson, Olin Simplest, the Guard Whisperer. So those were kind of the main ones that we were around at that time. And some other guys. So I feel bad if I forget to mention, but they really kind of helped us get into what was happening in the open gym space. And so now we're like, oh shoot, we're covering overseas and now we're getting tapped into the NBA. And we're like, okay, the stuff that we're producing is pretty dope and not something that we're seeing all the time. So I was like, damn, we're getting a lot of traction. This is fire content that we are around too consistently. I'm like, we gotta make this a business. So I went back to school. I went to USC to get my master's in entrepreneurship and innovation. And basically that program was under their business program. So I was learning on how to build a company essentially. So that was pretty helpful. And then, we're kind of just branching and grinding to this day. There's still only four of us. We had a couple interns that were helping out. But for the majority, it's just us doing the heavy lifting, wearing all the hats. We're the finance, we're the content creators, we're PR. So we're doing it all to this day.
So this is kind of a selfish question for me, but I'm sure the audience wants to know as well. Um, as somebody who has started a platform myself, right, starting it from the ground up, creating content, and I think that's kind of where it all starts. Is this idea, right? You have an idea where
Yeah.
I just want to showcase X, Y, Z, whatever it may be, right? How do you turn it from that, where you guys are showcasing overseas guys or popping up at open gyms, making highlights and stuff, to okay, we're going to turn this into a business that can actually return a profit? What does that process look like? How did you guys kind of scale that from, all right, this is like a cool hobby that's gaining traction and a couple of followers on IG, to now like this is an actual business now that we can sustain and monetize, right? Like, talk to us about that process.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of and still is. But we're I think we're learning as we go. Let me say that. So it's been really helpful by just doing a lot of research, and we will look into other companies to see how like they're sustaining. And honestly, when it comes to like learning and researching, I'm literally a stalker. Like I will go through everybody's Instagram. I will go LinkedIn is my best friend. I will try to learn all the different revenue streams that each company has. So, I have to think as a company, what are products that can be sold? You know what I mean? Because essentially, Instagram, social media is like you can't really sell anything on there besides like a physical product, so merchandise. So we're like, okay, we got to create merch. That's something that we knew for a fact. Like we have to create a physical object that we could send to somebody after they purchased.
Right.
And then the next thing is like, okay, if we're doing content, what else can we do? And you can sell like ad space. Like if you have a website, you can sell like the little banner, the all the stuff, but you got to build your audience because the main reason why they're even wanting to buy ad space is so your viewers, your audience can convert into their customers.
Right.
So we're like, oh, okay, that's dope too. And then, I was seeing that other companies were doing like brand partnerships and stuff like that. So I was like, how do we get into that space as well? And that right now is still a very learning curve, but you gotta, I think you just gotta dive more into like figuring out how to do marketing. Like you got to get into the marketing field somehow. And I think the best resource that you can use is like LinkedIn and figuring out like what type of brands that you think could fit to your company and then just see and build relationships through there too. So all that to say is like just figuring out which revenue streams work for you, like putting it on YouTube, that's the first step. Monetizable platforms and starting from there selling a physical product, and then once you gain your audience that is um, continuously coming to your page, then figure out how to attach them to something they may like and get that company involved essentially.
Right.
It's really hard though. I feel like that is something that when I went to school, a lot of people and just in business in general, they're gonna ask you, how are you gonna make money?
Right.
Because if you can't tell them how you're gonna make money, they're gonna be like, yeah, nah, like that's not it.
Right.
So, but for the most part, we've been doing pretty well, and you know, like I said, just continuously learning.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time, or the first, I guess, opportunity where you guys were able to make some money off Swish Cultures? Like, what was, I guess, the first thing that you guys were able to be like, all right, dang, like we turned a profit with this. Like, all right, that's dope. Like, I feel that's kind of a cool moment to go from, like I said, starting something as a hobby to then first making some money off something. You're like, all right, it's kind of cool, you know. So, do you remember?
Yeah.
I guess the first thing that you guys were able to kind of monetize off of, and then I guess the second part of that question is, would you recommend for creators or other um entrepreneurs out there in the sports space, would you recommend, what do you think is more important, I would say, trying to monetize the platform or growing that audience first and then trying to look for ways to monetize your platform? What would you say is that, I guess, what you should focus on first?
I think creating uh or building an audience is very important, you know. And then when you feel like you hit a threshold where you feel like comfortable, and plus sometimes you got to like you gotta be like, damn, I need to make some money on the side, you know. That's when you should really look into it. But the best thing that, you know, happened with us is that I was able to focus more on figuring out how to monetize while I had my partners figure out like a lot of the content. So, but when you're working on your own, it's a little hard because you got to do both. So I think that's what put us in a really good position is like I was able to put time aside to really focus on how people are able to sustain
Yeah.
and live and not have to work on the outside. So, I would say to really focus on creating your audience because I mean, what are you doing it for? If you're just doing it for money, get a job. Like just get a regular job because gonna that's gonna be your focus at the end of the day. But if you're trying to really create something powerful and you know eventually it'll make money, then focus then do what we're doing. It takes an average around like 5 years for a business to be like truly profitable. And we've been profitable like at our third mark in. Honestly, we've always kind of been profitable, even if the profit was like 2K. Like you get what I'm saying? Like
Right.
something like pretty low. Like we've always been profitable because our overhead was so low. Like our overhead expenses were we were literally just bought one camera and then had a computer like we were just creative. So um yeah, our overhead is really low. Our expenses are really low.
Right. So I know sometimes I be getting ahead of myself. I'll be asking mad questions. But so wait, what was the first thing that you guys monetized for Swish Cultures like that? Were you guys the first thing that you guys made money off of for yeah, like I said, when you guys were like, all right, dang, like, all right, we got something cooking now. Like what was the first thing that you guys were able to kind of make a turn a profit from?
Oh, I wouldn't say a ton, but I think something that was coming in consistently was like our YouTube. Like
Mhm.
we're like, oh, okay, like it's sustainable. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a creator by yourself, you'll be fine if you create a dope audience with like consistency,
Yeah.
posting on YouTube. That's when we're like, okay, we can do it. So I feel like that was like our beginning. We're like, time to really go back and figure out what we're doing here. And
No,
so um yeah, that was our first moment was seeing that.
that's tough. So walk us through a day in the life, right? Because I feel like, you know, again, I feel like when people think about like content creators, they think you just recording the video and posting
Oh
it.
my
There's so
yeah.
much more that goes into creating content when it comes to like, especially content at this level, at the level that you guys are doing it at. Like,
Yeah.
first of all, just getting the access. Getting the access is to even shoot the content is a hurdle to get to jump through in and of itself.
Right.
And I was like I said, recording the content, getting the right shots, angles, right. I don't know if you guys are doing like shot sheets and things like that, but sometimes some people are doing shot sheets and planning out things that they're trying to get. Then there's editing, posting. So like, walk us through a typical day, right? Like, when you're going out there to shoot for Swish, what does that look like?
So if we're shooting in the off season, and it depends where we're going to, because we're not in LA. A lot of people don't realize we're on the outskirts of LA. So
Mm,
we have to drive like 60 plus miles to get to wherever we have to go, especially during off season. So if we're shooting like a workout, we'll wake up early, around like maybe 5 or 6, depending on where we have to go. Sometimes we could wake up a little later, just depends. Um, you know, get in the car, drive 60 miles, which is like hour 30, hour 45, get to the gym, record the guys maybe for 3 hours, 3, 4 hours, depending on how long the workout slash runs are. Then we'll literally look at the clock and be like, it's 1 o'clock. Oh yeah, we gotta get on the road because we're gonna hit traffic.
mm,
So we'll go back. If me and Jordan are riding in the same car, I will drive and he will edit in the car.
mm.
So he's editing in like the passenger seat. We once we're back, at like our home office will I'll either pass out because I'm so tired, and this is the truth. I'll either pass out because I'm so tired from just being in traffic, and then he's good because he didn't have to drive, and then we'll flip roles. And
Mhm.
then I'll start to either edit some stuff that I got, or I'll work more on our behind the scenes stuff, which is either payroll, taxes, try to get brand deals, PR, outreach. Like I'll do more so of that stuff. And that's for off season. In season, we'll do we'll wake up early, go to like the I'm blanking right now, but the kind of like their practice before the games.
Pre-game shoot
I'm
around? Shoot
shoot
around?
around. I'm tripping. Yeah. So I'll go to like shoot around, do interviews. I'll stay out there, drive like 45 minutes from shoot around to crypto. Then I'll be at crypto around like 4 or 5. Do some either interviews or do some more filming. Then the game starts, obviously. Then post game is around 10 ish. Do post game, edit the post game stuff like interviews, so I
Mhm.
could try to put it up right away because those are more a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Go home, get home around midnight. Try to upload my stuff to the computer so when I wake up in the morning, all I have to do is like edit and then start over. It's kind of nuts. It's
It's a
crazy.
grind. It's a grind.
It's
And I feel
crazy.
like people see the stuff on Instagram, but they're not seeing like the things that go on behind the scenes to be able to get the people the content that they're seeing, right? So
Yeah.
um I think also it's important that you guys have a team, right? You know, yourself, your brother Jordan, and Goods, like, you know, you guys all are doing different roles. So just kind of talk about the importance of being able to have each other to lean on, the different roles that you guys can kind of assume to be able to make something like that work. Because again, like, I mean, you to just I feel like from the outside looking in to be able to see a platform like Swish Cultures and to know it's 4 people that are
Yeah.
running it is like wild. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, for you guys, just talk about I guess your team, and I guess how you guys are able to kind of work off of each other to produce the product.
Yeah, I think originally when we started, we were like, we all have to just do the same thing.
Yeah.
We gotta all be like copy and paste of each other. And then now we're at a point where we're like, okay, you're more international, you're more getting content here in the States, you're more finance and PR and etc. You're more so design. So now we're like slowly breaking out of that single mold that we all place each other in. So I feel like it's very important now to have roles because it gets a lot more stuff done and you get further along. And like in every business, you start to see, especially if you didn't have a business background like how we didn't, we were just athletes first.
Yeah.
When you start looking at the corporate world, you realize everybody has like a title and everybody has like a focus.
Yeah.
So we're now just like peeping the scene and like, okay, this is what I really need to do in my day to day. This is what you need to do in your day to day. And if so be it, if I need to be and do something, I already know how to do it because we started off as teaching each other exactly how to do so. So like when I saw you at Clippers, I was I know how to shoot everything.
Right.
Like it's light to me because I've done it, but that's not really my focus anymore. Like I don't that's not my priority in the company. But I still do it because it helps with the manpower. But
Yeah.
once we start to grow, you'll start to see my position shift more so like, you know, being the person that's there but not so much filming.
Right.
So,
Right. So speaking of filming, right? Like you got to interview a bunch of dope players, attend some playoff games, and be in some crazy environments. Like, what are some of the coolest moments that you've experienced while working for Swish, or some moments where you look back on and you're like, you know, you had the out of body experience. Like you look around, you're like, damn, yo, like I'm really in Staples or crypto or whatever, interviewing LeBron, whatever the case may be. Like, just talk
yeah.
Talk about one of those moments where, I guess some of the first things that come to your mind, like some of the coolest things that you've been able to experience.
I'm low key lame, and I don't know. I blame this on my parents because like I don't really get like starstruck, or I don't be getting like super excited. That's kind of the downfall. I wish I'd be getting excited over stuff. I feel like I would be lit, but um yeah, like I see everybody as like regular people. They just got like a lot of money, you know? So for the most part, I'm like it's cool, but I think the and I said this on my last podcast too. I think my favorite moment was um my homegirl. She brought me courtside to the Lakers game a couple years back. I never been courtside either, so I was like, wow, I'm not here working. Like this is so much fun. And so I was sitting and then I look to my right and I see Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers and I met him before, but I didn't really know who he was until somebody told me. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was just like, "That's dope" cuz he was hooping in the gym. So I see him courtside and I was like I waved but I was like I don't know if he gonna like recognize who I am. So you know when you do that like the halfway
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he really yeah like he remembered me and he got up and came over and said hi and I was just like you're so dope like you're really cool and his wife is mad cool too like they're super basketball heads like it was a cool experience to see that.
That's fire. So quick tangent before I ask my next question. It's funny you say that because that makes me think of something. And I kick myself to this very day about this because I can't remember if it was a day we were sitting together at the
Hmm.
Clippers game or not. 'Cause I went to a bunch of games when I was in LA. And one of the games, the cast of like Bel Air was at the game. They were sitting like courtside. Coco Jones was at the game. But mind you, right? So obviously with my brother, since he's worked for the Clippers, I had a little family pass. So I could go back to the little
Right.
family room, locker room, like where the players at and everything. So as I'm walking, I think it might have been like halftime. And I'm walking back. I was walking from the family room to the court. And as I'm walking to the court, this girl like walks past me. I'm like, damn, she fine. Like, and we like eyes. So I'm like, okay, she gave me a little look. And the man in me, I'm like, oh, you gotta pull up. I'm like, nah, I can't just pull
You
up.
were fighting with yourself.
I was fighting with myself. I'm like, damn, she gave me that look, but I ain't about to, you know what I'm saying? So I go back, but I'm thinking it's just a regular pedestrian. I'm not thinking nothing of it.
Yeah.
So I go back to my seat and I see on the Jumbotron, he's like, oh, like the cast of Bel Air is here and like Coco Jones. I'm like, I look up, I'm like, that's the girl that just walked by. Like, I'm like, no way I just fumbled an hour or two like that. And I
You were
swear,
sick, huh?
I was beefing. I was like, yo. I was
I
like,
know you
yo.
were.
I'm like,
I
yo.
know you were.
I'm like, yo, I need to go back down there. Maybe I run. Nope. Over.
Never seen her.
Never seen her again. I was like, bro, how did I fumble the opportunity? But that's a quick tangent. Just you made me think of the opportunity, man. So I'm gonna hold that over my head.
Sick.
If I see Coco Jones again, maybe she'll remember me. I remember I seen a fine young chocolate man with dreads at the Clippers game. You know what I'm saying? So Coco
Hey,
out
post
there
this
right
clip
now.
on Instagram. You never know.
In fact, yo, tag
You
Coco Jones.
never.
Tag Coco Jones.
Coco Jones, if you're seeing this, he is shooting his shot.
I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Facts, man. But all right, let me get back into it, man. I was a little tangent. But so again, I wanted to kind of ask you, like, I know you mentioned, all right, you know, you're cool, right? So you don't get starstruck and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But I feel like still just being able to see like just the growth of Swish Cultures, right? Like when you look at the impact that you guys are able to have, and just how far the platform has grown, right? Like, how do
Yeah.
you reflect on that, you know, and knowing that you had such a hand in that, like you're one of the founders of this platform that so many people are tapped into, so many people are, you know, have grown to love, you know, over the years, right? How do you, as somebody who's like, this is your baby, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you
Yeah.
reflect back on that now, man, just being able to look back at it from kind of a bird's eye view and seeing how far you guys have come?
I think it's so weird because we don't realize we don't realize like what how far we are. Like truthfully, because we're so in the trenches, I'm telling you, our heads are down. Like we're just like knock it out, knock it out, knock it out, knock it out. We gotta go here, we gotta go here, we gotta go here, we gotta go here. So I think we start to realize it when people um tell us. It sounds really weird, but like I went to summer league and I introduced myself and then I kind of like explained because somebody asked me like what I did and I was told them like I was the co-founder of Swish and then I went on to explaining what Swish was and they're like we know what Swish is, like why are you explaining it? I was like wait, you do? And I think that was a culture shock for my entire family because like my mom had that experience too when she was telling like, whoever she was talking to at Summer League about what her kids were doing. And then the people were, oh, we know Swish Cultures. And it's just weird. It's weird. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. And to see it grow from where it was is always a blessing. Like I pray every day. Um, about like protecting over it, protecting us. Like I'm just very blessed. We're all blessed and we're just trying to be the best essentially organically too. And you know how it goes. Sometimes organic route you just be like I'm tired. Like some people vibe with it, some people don't. Like it might be a hit, it might be a miss, but that's what it comes with when you're really building something from the ground up. So yeah, like it's it's cool. It's cool. It's a very cool experience to see where it's at now. It's also very weird. So yeah, it's a bit of both, but all in all, love it. Super super excited to see what we're about to do next. So
Yeah, I was gonna say like what's next for Swiss Cultures? Like when you look at where you want to see the company go, and I feel like in 2023, man, the possibilities are endless. Do you guys ever talk about what the future looks like for you guys, how you want to continue to scale it? What do those conversations look like for you guys?
we kind of like want to keep it small. Obviously, we want to build a team, but we love like the intimate scene. Like, and it's also what people don't tell you when you grow a team. It's very hard to manage sometimes. Like, especially if you build rapidly. But that's why I feel like having a small team, and then building from a small team to maybe a medium sized team, that would be perfect for us. But we love being able to be intimate. We know what our 5 year goal is. We know what our 3 year goal is. We know what our um, like our quick turnaround goals are. I think now we're just trying to figure out how to um, really showcase us as the founders and really get our audience connected with us too. Because I think once people realize the people behind the brand, that's when stuff changes. Like people really can connect with you. So that's very important for us right now is to get people to understand we are Black owned, we were athletes. Look, and at first, and this is just a very vulnerable moment. At first, we were nervous to talk about how we're Black owned because we were like, we weren't sure if opportunities were going to be taken away from us. So it was we were very on eggshells about it. We just didn't know how to move. But once we started seeing a lot of support within the community supporting like Black owned businesses, then we really start to get a little more comfortable and more confident in being able to tell that true story. So, what is a better feeling than being able to relate to people that look like you, that been in the environment like you, and can really vibe with you as a person? And we want people to start seeing that.
Yeah. I want to kind of expound upon that a little bit more because I feel like um that's such a good point. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I had one of my boys on. His name is Antonio DePina. He was on The Circle on Netflix the first season, and he kind of parlayed his kind of reality TV life into entrepreneurship. He also is a tech startup founder. He launched an app originally called Overseas Basketball Connection, but now they rebranded into a Scouts app that's basically trying to connect players to like the overseas life as far as finding teams and like not having to go through an agent where you can like upload your film and like be seen by players. He's trying to basically bridge that gap. And he was talking about, I guess, just the struggles and trying to secure like venture capital money, like as an African American startup, you know, and
Mhm.
his journey was like when he was first trying to, you know, raise the money for his app, talking to different people, like, oh, okay, well, like, how much money did you have when you started your startup? Like, you know, how much revenue did you generate? And people, he's like,
Yeah.
the white kind of co-founders were like, we ain't revenue generate. We ain't generating the revenue. We just
It's an
this
idea.
amount of much. We were like, yo, what? Like,
It's
when I was
crazy.
pitching my
Yeah.
brand, I had to say, we had to, oh wow, we generated this amount of revenue, and this is what we can show, right? And other people were like, nah, like, you know, we ain't even need to do that. So for you, what was your journey like as four African American creators trying to venture down that path? Like, what was your experience trying to navigate that as black owned founders?
Yeah, oh man, it's to we talk about this to this day because we've only bootstrapped, meaning we've only used our own money. Like everything, we don't have any investors, we don't have any outsourced capital. Um, we were part of the Drew and Lauren Holiday Fund. Absolutely love them. Shout out to Drew and Lauren Holiday, the Holiday family in general, because they were providing, they were giving like grants to small businesses, especially during COVID, to sustain. And but that's the only outsourced money that we've really got from like a person, right? So it's hard. It's really hard. I've come across people that raise millions of dollars off of an idea. So I literally almost flipped the table in my head. But also, everybody's path is different. And like I actually had a meeting, or not a meeting, I was talking to a very, very, very rich person via email, super, super dope. And he was giving me advice like, look, um, if you go this route, you might lose a lot of equity. If you do this route, you can at least keep your equity and still try to grow. So that was super helpful. But like I said, we teeter totter. We'd be like, sometimes we want to get an investor, sometimes we don't. But I think if somebody really came in and was on the same brand identity and same mindset as we are as a company, we would consider it. But as of right now, just kind of just figuring out how we want to go about it, because right now we're kind of not feeling it a little bit, but we'll see. I think it's just all situational.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like you know, being an African American creative and entrepreneur in this space myself, like it's definitely super inspiring to see people like yourselves who have been able to kind of blaze that path, you know, and I guess um do the things that a lot of people are trying to do, you know, when it comes to
Yeah.
building a brand and things like that. What would you say is the most important thing to, I guess, remember? What's the most important thing to focus on? What would you say is something that, I guess, advice you would give to somebody else who's trying to, I guess, blaze this path and replicate? Well, you can't replicate what you guys are doing because, you know what I'm saying, period. Switch Coaches is a one of one, but I guess following that footsteps on their own type of situation, what advice would you give to somebody who's trying to navigate this space?
Man, I would say, like I was mentioning earlier, it was really helpful to have like my brother and my co-founder as partners, because now we're able to split.
Yeah,
I think that is helpful to have maybe a co-founder, but it's not needed.
yeah,
It's helpful, but it's not needed. And I think why I'm saying it's helpful is because you can have somebody that can be more creative, and then you have someone that could help with more of like the logistics. Um, so it's really hard to do both as one person. It's just you're gonna really burn out fast. Like it's a little tougher. It's possible, but it's just tougher. I would say that. I would also say once you change your mindset into um, going from a hobby to actual business, really take that business mindset seriously and really think about like how am I going to be able to sustain and not just have this as something where it's just a hobby, unless you want it to be a hobby.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's really important. Those would be two. I had one more thing, but I forgot it. It was literally something dope too, and I know it's dope, but I blanked.
Well, listen, if it comes back to you, you can jump in at any moment and drop it because I'm sure the people will appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? You can go off the
Yeah,
cuff.
of course.
If it comes back, just you can go ahead and drop it for us. But um, I wanted to give you a moment to talk about. You mentioned obviously Drew and Lauren Holiday and their fun and how they've kind of supported Swish Cultures. I've noticed on your stories you talk a lot about just the people, that Drew and Lauren Holiday are. Outside of even
Yeah.
obviously basketball player and soccer player, that they are. But just talk about your relationship with Drew and Lauren and just what they've been able to do for the brands for Swish and just the people that they are that I guess I guess the casual fan might not know.
Yeah, for sure. So, actually, Jordan and Justin Holiday went to middle school together.
Mm.
So that's always fun. So they always been like fam, to be honest with you. Like they're like the broskies, and Lauren obviously is like a sister. So it's just been really a blessing for us. They've always supported us. Drew honestly was one of the first to really support us from the jump, and them as people is just absolutely outstanding, and it's because it's genuine. You
Yeah.
know, like it's hard to see a lot of genuine people nowadays, especially at that high caliber for both of them. You
Mm.
got Olympian and then you got a NBA superstar, like that's nuts. And they're just so humble about it. Um, so yeah, though they're just amazing. And a quick little background story, we weren't gonna apply for the grant and but they literally saw how much we were grinding going up and down the road because their family's from where we are currently, so they know that drive is absolutely ridiculous. And so I remember I was at their house, both me and Jordan were at their house because we were filming their workouts, and I was just talking to Lauren, and Lauren was like, yo, did you apply for the grant? And I was like, to be honest, Lauren, you guys gave us such an amazing opportunity already with just allowing us to be here. Like, no. She looked at me crazy, like, yo, what are you doing? She was like, if you don't apply, like, literally, you can't come up here no more. Like, she was kind of like forcing, I wouldn't say she said word for word that, but basically, she was like, if you don't apply, like, I'm applying for you. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
So, yeah, like it's just it kind of makes you emotional because you know how hard it is when you're doing everything, kind of on your own, and to see someone willingly come out of their way, out of their own schedule to push you to something that they know can help you. Like that's amazing. And we're in an environment too where a lot of people are like, we're so pro black businesses, and then they don't do nothing. They're the type of people that didn't talk about it, they did it first. And then they were like, this is what's happening and what we're putting on. So can't explain how much love I have for them as a family.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Shout out to Drew and Lauren, man, because like you said, I feel like there's not a lot of people who are supporting black businesses, not just with their words, but financially, you know what I'm saying? And that means a lot to creators who, like you mentioned, are kind of come out of your own pocket to fund this and
Yeah,
make it do what it do. So definitely shout out to them for sure. I got a couple more questions for you, and then we're gonna get to some quick hitters, have a little fun and wrap it up.
or
I wanted to ask you, like, for you, as a not only a woman in sports, but a black woman in sports, right? I feel like that is something that it's like it's few and far between, but I think that there are a lot more women now that are getting opportunities, and Black women specifically that are getting more opportunities in the media and in sports. What do you think are some things that you would like to see change as far as the industry to create more opportunities for women, to be, I guess, create more accepting positions, more welcoming environments, just anything on that spectrum? What do you think? What are some things that you want to see going forward to, I guess, better accommodate women in sports?
I want to see a lot more Black women placements, and I know that I'm starting to see, like the reporters, and I'm starting to see a lot more faces. But I would like to kind of see like a plethora of opportunities that involves that. So, and just, really cool environments because a lot of the time we have to, what is that word called? Code switch. We
Mm-hmm.
really have to code switch in a lot of spaces. And I think that's what makes me and my brother and Anthony and Mide a little different is that, we come in wearing like Jordan will wear like his Jordan ones. So now I'm starting to see a lot of people wear J's now. And then, just more like the swag like we come in with is just different. So I think just being able to be ourselves while we're in these spaces is key. And a lot of the spaces that we are in sports is Black dominated. Like, but we're always having to be on the media end. We're supposed to kind of like switch a little bit. So I think having more acceptance of that would be something huge, not just for Black women, but just for Black people,
Right.
just for people of color, to be able to bring their culture a little bit into those environments and feel comfortable and not feel ostracized for saying, "Oh, that's dope."
Yeah.
Like what? So I think just building more of a community of that will be super helpful. An experience that I've had that was nuts to me was I was I'm very friendly, so when I'm in spaces, I try to talk to everybody, and I was particularly trying to talk to these two men. There's two white men in the tunnel, and I was just trying to like I heard them talking about basketball, so I was like, having trying to have a conversation with them too. Did not They did not even give me an eye, like a look, nothing, and I was just like, well, okay. And then Steve Kerr, I'm really cool with Steve Kerr because I played with his daughter at Cal.
Mm.
So it's like fam. So Steve came and he gave me a hug and I was talking to Steve for a little bit. Once they saw I knew Steve, they switched up and then they started talking to me and I was just like, yo, this is absolutely ridiculous. And I just always kept that as a mental note that, this is kind of the world that I'm in, but I can honestly change it just by being myself. I don't have to even do too much. I could just be myself and just hope, everything around it changes because I'm not. So
Period. Period. Um,
it's wild though.
no, that's super wild. And I think I don't know why to ask this earlier. Did you ever feel like, obviously Swish Cultures is like a basketball centered platform? Obviously, you playing volleyball, was there ever like a learning curve for you to learn the ins and
Hell
outs
yeah.
and stuff like that? Like,
Bro,
what
what?
was that like for you?
I mean, heck yeah, sorry. I don't know.
You good, you good, you good.
um, but yeah, like it was like I literally, bro, oh my God, I got put into like basketball boot camp. What? I had to learn everything. Like, still have to learn everything, but I'm a lot better now. And I had to, Jordan put me through it. He was like, "Yeah, like you need to learn this. ISO, downhill, off the dribble, da 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 da." I was like,
Was he
"Bro,
teaching
what?"
you, or were you having to seek this out on your own?
A little bit. So it was a little bit of both. Like, because once you're recording too, and then I'm also hearing some of the trainers, like if because I'm near the trainers too, so I'm hearing the trainers teach the guys on some like new stuff that they can apply for in season. So I'll hear, and then it'll make sense when I'm recording and seeing it. And then Jordan is kind of like standing next to me too, and then he will break it down. And then if we're watching games together, this was really early on too. If we're watching games together, he'll tell me like this is what's happening, the play call, why this guy, like why he came off the pick and roll, like all like literally everything. So I had to, I had to become a hooper for real, like basically. So yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. And then I also had to edit these in-game plays, right? And come up with a caption. So I'm like, bro, I can't mess it up. So I would at first I would ask Jordan and be like, look, well, I don't even know. I was like, I know he did some. I was like, I know he did something crazy because I slow mode it at this point and I see it. I just don't know the words to it. And then he was telling me, and then now I know what to put. But it was just, it was nuts. It was so crazy. I was so stressed.
Are you proud of yourself now with how far you've been able to come? Where are you at now? And do you feel like you still have a long way to go? Are you like up to speed? How do you feel now?
I feel like I could hang. I
Yeah.
don't feel like I would never give myself enough credit. So I'm never like I'm not gonna compare myself to y'all. Y'all are some real like born and raised through and through. You guys hooped from you since you guys were babies. I was around hoop when I was little, but I never really played like how y'all did. So I just never want to even compare myself to that because I can't. It's just facts. I can't. But with that being said, I am very proud of where I came. I think I can hang in the conversation for sure, and really bring a different outlook uh, to the interviews, rather than like the average person. So I feel like I'm doing good. I have a lot to work on though,
Love
and
it.
I will continue. Everybody does.
Of
So
course. Of course. So I would say, seeing your posts on Instagram and stuff like that, I feel like you bring a little bit of comedy and like you said, you're
uh,
always yourself, right? Being yourself and being
yeah.
authentic and your journey is very important. So I want to ask you, like, where does that like come from? Like, are there any like creators that you like look up to or like that you kind of like, oh, I think that's dope? Or is it kind of just like, you know what, I'm going with it. This is me. This is what I'm, rocking with. Like, where does that goofy side come into your content? Because I feel like obviously, again, like when it comes to creating content, you have to be unique in the space. So you have
Yeah.
culture stuff, right? But then you have like this is Ashton. This is the content I'm doing. My little day in the life, my little voiceovers, and like you know what I'm saying. So where does that come from as far as your content and how you show up on social media?
So like on my personal or both?
Personal, personal.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like anything that's funny on Swish, bro. That's me. Like off the rip.
Hmm?
Like I'm really goof. I'm just goofy. I'm a goofy person. I love to laugh. I find everything funny. I'm a memes girl. Uh, and it's relatable because like, for example, I know you asked for personal, but for a Swish thing, I
Even
remember
with
I
Switch though, I
posted.
be seeing some of the comments be slick. They be
Oh
clever.
my,
Be
I
clever.
be I be cracking myself up, and I'm such a goofball. But like, there was this one post that I made where it was like this guy. He had like it reminded me of early 2000s. He had like the do rag on, the oversized 3X, 5XL white tee with the big shorts, and he was upstairs watching like hot sauce play on the hot sauce highlights on his TV, and he was like dribbling upstairs, and you already know that's a no go. You're not supposed to dribble in the house. So it just reminded me of like seeing Jordan do something like that at the house when we were little. And I'm like, if this happened in our household, I know for a fact this happened in everybody else's household. So that's why I was like, I know people will relate to this. But for my personal, very I'm very goofy. I love to laugh, and I don't really have any person that I admire or any content creator that I admire, but I do want to start making stuff that I wish I had when I was younger. That's someone that's into sports, that's someone that's also into beauty, but also kind of like not like I'm feminine, but I'm also tomboyish, and I wish there was someone that had that mix So it's like you didn't have to choose sides. Um, yeah, like I want to create stuff like that. So I'm just showing people what I do. At least I'm trying to. I'm trying to be more of like showing behind the scenes, more of like makeup, more of whatever, whatever I decide at the moment. Just more so myself.
That's dope. That's dope, man. I feel like um you know what's crazy? Because I feel like I be trying to, I when it comes to content, I feel like you can draw inspiration from a bunch of different people. And I feel like it's for me personally, when I look to make my reels or podcast clips, I feel like I be watching a bunch of different people, you know what I'm saying? Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily like take stuff from them, but I feel like it's always good to just see different angles and different perspectives and stuff. So I'm gonna put myself on blast here because I feel like I
Oh,
gotta give this person some flowers right quick. You know what I'm saying? And you might know who this person is too, because if you're into like beauty, then you might know who this influencer is. But one of my favorite influencers that I actually love to tune into is Monet McMichael. You know what she is?
yeah, I do. I
All
do.
right.
Yeah.
So she's a YouTuber slash TikTok, Instagram, whatever. But like, bro, when I say I be faithfully tuning into her YouTube, like her TikToks, like I feel like her personality is so dope. But it's wild though, because she's legitimately like a beauty and like fashion influencer. I'm like, what? I don't got no business watching no beauty influencer, watching a good
Right. Right.
recipe.
Right. Right.
But I feel like the way
It's
her person
entertainment though.
no facts, like I don't know what it is, but her YouTube videos are like the most entertaining thing that I've ever seen. Bro. I be watching her vlogs on Sundays, like her little fashion week recaps, brand trip recaps. I'm like, bro, like you can take something from everybody. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly. I agree.
um, I think it's dope to be able to just see like how you show up on social media and like how everybody's content is different, right? Like everybody has a
Yeah.
different lane, everybody has a different little twist to what they do. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta give a shout out to Monet, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing your thing because you know people like myself who you might not ever even think tune into your content, man. You know what I'm saying? You can draw
To be locked
inspiration.
in.
Facts. Um,
Locked in.
so last kind of more serious question I have for you before we get some quick hitters and get you out the door, man, is this. I kind of asked you before, like, where you want to see Swish Cultures going and, what it means to
Mhm.
you to kind of see how far it's come, right? But when you look at like impact, right? And the mark you guys want to leave on the basketball community, right? What impact would you like to have? Would you like Swish Cultures to have on the community when you look back in 5, 10 years from now? When people think about Swish Cultures, what would you like people to think about? What impact do you want Swish Cultures to be able to have on the basketball community as a whole? When you think about your brand and your business.
Yeah, I would say I would want it to be where we're the biggest basketball media platform, so we're still around by that time. Like, I hope it doesn't fade, God willing. And I want people to just feel comfortable and feel like they're able to actually relate and, like have that escape when they're on our page. Like when you're coming home from work, you just hop on our page and be like, ah. Like this is nice. Like I'm chilling, I'm watching highlights, like I'm updated, I'm kept up. Every hooper can relate, and then eventually, hopefully, it could just not just be hoopers. It could be a plethora of different sports across the board, and everybody's just feeling that same feeling like, damn, this highlight's fire, or wow, what song is this on this highlight? Because I need to put that on the playlist immediately. So eventually, having some experiential type stuff too, so we can really have the community be in person. I feel like that's what I would want for sure. Is just to be known as one of the biggest basketball brands and eventually biggest sports brands out.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Um, well, time to get into some quick hitters. So the questions I'm about to ask you, I want to give the first thing that comes to your mind when I ask you these questions. So
Oh gosh. All right.
first, first one is, what would you say has been the craziest moment, like from being in the open gym, interviewing a player where like something happened, you're like, damn, like that was wild. Like, what would you say the first thing that comes to your mind?
That was wild. Hold on, I'm gonna have to think. That was wild. Oh, okay. I think when LeBron introduced himself, like he doesn't know that everybody knows him.
Uh,
Yeah, like cuz he was in the gym and he's so cool. Like he's such a dope dude. Like he was like introduced like he's shaking people's hand before and then he shook my hand and he was like I'm LeBron. I was like, nice to meet you, LeBron. I'm Ashton. And I'm thinking to myself, why you're like you don't need to.
yeah.
But I guess like I don't know. I guess that brings a sense of reality or
But if you
humbleness.
don't intro yourself, it might be like, oh, he like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, he think you feel me? Even though you are,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
I think it was just like a crazy moment for me because it was like, yo, everybody knows who you are. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just kind of like, wow, that's interesting.
Yep.
It
Yep.
was like a very interesting moment.
Yeah.
It was cool though. It was cool to meet LeBron. It
Is
was
he
really
as
cool.
cool as he seems as I guess off the camera? I feel like he seems like he's super goofy, super down to earth. Was that your experience around him as well?
Yeah, he seems very much like the same person. I feel like on camera. I feel like he's the most legit one, to be honest.
Wow.
Not to like just single him out, but
Of
he
course.
seems very consistent with how he is on court and off court
Mhm.
of like personality.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Next one. What was the favorite interview you've done and why? And not necessarily from like a starstruck perspective, mostly from like maybe the answers that they gave, how genuine they were, a story they told you. It could be anything like that.
Um, that's a really good question. My favorite interview and why? Dang, I'm really bad at these. Like, um, that's tough. I have a couple though. I would say I liked interviewing Russell Westbrook. That was pretty cool. Because I feel like people don't give him enough credit of how he is as a person. You know, sometimes there's a lot of negative connotation a little bit around him, but he's very, very, very nice. And then especially because I was talking to him about like the kids and AAU starting up because he has a team, and his whole like demeanor is just like amazing. Like it was just he was so into it and he was talking about certain kids that he had on the radar for himself. And you could tell like he's a community dude. So I think that was really cool. And like I said, like media holds a lot of power. So they're gonna put out what they want. And it was just a great experience to have that with Russell. Um What's another one interview? I can't really think of. I know because I've done a couple. Um, I can't really think of any other ones at the moment. But I know I was. You know how you look over film to be better. I
Yep,
was
yep.
definitely look overing some of my interviews, and I was like, God damn, that question was way too long. I'm just so happy that they were nice enough to answer it.
Right.
So it was yeah. So that was funny too.
Bet.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay. Summer League or All Star Weekend, and we're talking about purely vibes. Which one you going with?
Summer League.
You know, I've asked that question 3 times. Everybody says Summer League, so All Star Weekend must
Summer
not
League.
give. It must not give. Like, okay.
Uh yeah, All-Star Weekend is every opportunity I would say go. That's what I'm gonna say. It's just a little different because, you know, you're mid-season for All-Star and a lot of people want to just have a break. So a lot of people don't go to All-Star sometimes.
Right.
But with Summer League, everybody pretty much goes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. Um. Okay. So this last question, quick hitter, is going to be a draft, right? So we're going to draft.
No.
We're gonna
No. Heck no. You're about to set me up. You are
So
about to set. You are about to
listen,
set me up.
listen. This is gonna be a question for the culture. So if you can't do this, then we're gonna have to have a deeper conversation. You know what I'm saying? This is not sports related though.
Oh, okay. Let me hear it.
We're gonna draft our top three each. Top three hood classics as far as movies. Movies.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Top
Jesus.
three. Top
Oh,
three.
suburban girl.
Listen. You a Cali girl, so there's a bunch of movies that's in
Oh,
Cali that you could just
Lord.
name off of that's classic. So I always said three each. I only get three each. So we
You go
start
first.
with the guest. So you get the number one pick. You get the number one pick in the hood
Oh,
movie.
I get the number one pick. Hood classics too.
Huh?
They're hood classics.
Hood classics. So we're gonna alternate. You get the first pick, then I'm gonna get my first pick, and then two, two, three, three. That's how it's gonna go.
So my number one pick would be The Wood.
Okay, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. Um, my number
Oh,
one pick. I'm surprised you didn't pick this as a Cali girl. It's Friday. You ain't got no job. You ain't got shit
bro,
to
I'm
do.
so. I love Friday, but everybody be like Rancho Cucamonga because I'm from
That's
Rancho
where you from,
Cucamonga.
right?
Yes. Everybody be like, do you have the purple house? Do you have pinkies? I'll be like, oh my God. You guys are so burnt out. Please.
I mean, but I feel like
Please.
for us, especially for me as an East Coaster, that's the only time I ever heard of Rancho Cucamonga. I ain't gonna cap. Just from the movie.
Tragic. Tragic. You're sick.
What's your number two?
Um, my second one, see, I be watching cartoons for real. I be
Girl, you said
watching
the
like cartoons.
wood. There's no way you can't name another another movie. There's no possible way.
Bro, when's the last time I watched a movie? Hold on. Okay, The Wood is one for sure. You said Friday. That's a classic. Uh, bro, what is that movie called?
Ashton,
You
this
go
is
first. You hit your second one. I got my
about
computer
to
right
get your
here.
black card revoked. You might get your black card revoked.
Stop because I just got it back. Please.
my
Please
second
don't revoke it.
my second pick is going to be Juice.
I knew you were gonna say that. And I was gonna
If I was
say
gonna
it
say
just
that, you
to
could have said it.
nah, but that I wanna be what's it called? Legit.
Are you on Google right now? I see you
Yeah,
typing
because I can't
Google.
think of the movie. I can't think of the movie. And it's gonna that's why I cut that out that I can't think of the movie.
Uh,
Yo, what is that movie called? Hold on. Set it off, bro. There we
oh
go.
my God. Okay,
Set it
okay,
off.
okay, okay.
Set it off. Set it off is solid.
So
Set it off is solid.
I guess it's my turn again, even though technically it should go back to you since you should be first, but it's okay. My number three, this is tough. This
It
one.
better not be some like love and basketball.
See, I said that we had Mike on, and I was saying when I was with Mike, and I we did top five sports movies, and that was my number two
No.
sports movie. So I'm not gonna repeat it, but that would be in. That would be in. You know what I'm saying? But you feel me?
No,
I
you
ain't
can't.
do that. My third one is going to be. Damn, this is tough. Damn, I'm gonna go Boys in the Hood. I'm gonna go Boys in the Hood. I feel like that's Ricky. That's you feel
That's
me?
sad.
It is sad, but I feel like everybody
Basic.
that. What's your
I'm
third
just
pick?
kidding.
What's your third pick then?
I don't think this is a hood movie though. It's for sure not.
What
Is
is it?
Two Can Play That Game a hood movie? That's not a hood movie.
Well,
That's not hood.
it's not hood, but it counts as in this category. I was gonna say black movies, but I didn't want to say black movies. You know what I'm saying? So that counts. That counts. That's a good movie though. That's a great
I
movie.
like Two Can Play That Game. Two
I,
Can Play That Game. But the crazy thing is I haven't watched movies for real, like in a minute.
oh, I feel you. I listen. The I feel
In a
like when I
minute.
had free time, I'd be trying to just take a breath of fresh air that I can't even think about like watching a movie or Netflix or anything like that. So, but when I do get a chance, I do be throwing on my little, loving basketball. I'm
Throwbacks?
a calm dude though, you know what I'm saying? So I throw in a rum,
Yeah, yeah.
a little glass of wine, you feel me? Kick up, you know what I'm saying? Hey, once in a while you gotta get back to
For
the, you know what I'm saying?
true, true. You have to have those days of just like let me unwind because literally if I don't, it'll be OD.
I was gonna say
Oh,
ATL just because of Nunu, Lauren London, you know what I'm saying? Her fine stuff, but
ooh, ATL. Yes. I'm gonna put that as four. Ooh, that's
what?
crazy. I'm mad I didn't think about that. I honestly I would shift ATL up to what was the first one I said? I said
The Wood.
the wood. Ooh.
Yeah, I was gonna say ATL at 3, or I was gonna go with
Let's shift ATL up. Let's
okay,
shift ATL up.
where you putting it then? Now
Yeah,
you
let's
stealing
do it.
my pick. Now you stealing my pick. This is crazy work what's going on right now.
It's more like a trade, but hey.
I'm giving you an assist.
I'm I'm trading information for that pick. I'm not,
Okay.
I'm not trading a movie, but I'm trading. This is a cash trade.
Oh, cash considerations. We'll take it. We'll take it. Oh man. All right. So the last question that we always ask all our guests, who is one person that we should have on the What's in Your Bag podcast? And whoever you say, you got to get in your CP3 John Stockton bag and give us the assist to help us get them on.
Dang, you want me in my assist bag? Hmm. Does it is it like a specific, like more so content creation
This could be
or
a player. This could be a player. This could be a creator. This could be we've had people from all walks of life. We've had photographers, designers, stylists, players, um, creators. We're kind of, I feel like, the goal of the What's in Your Bag podcast is kind of showcase what people have going on outside of basketball. So even if we do have players on, we talk about, the off the court interests and kind of their journey into the game, or obviously if we have somebody outside of basketball and then kind of their angle into, sports. So right now we're
right?
in our creator series. So we've had a lot of people who are kind of in the different, like I said, we had Jessica Slade on, we had Juju Adams, who does social for GQ. We had a bunch of different people on kind of in this creator space, photographers. So it could be anything in that lane.
Okay. I have like three off the top of my head. Um,
What's
Everett
what's the,
Osborne.
what I'm saying? We never limit folks to one. If you really want to get in your, LeBron to D Wade to Bron, you know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm about to be on the Hall of Fame list. I'm just kidding. I'm trying. The one that really came up to me just now, like in mind, which is Everett Osborne.
Mm,
He was the main character in the new movie Sweetwater, I want to say. Really cool dude cuz he hooped. He really hooped for real. That was one. Khalil Simplis, which is the guard whisperer's son,
mm.
and he does music, which is pretty dope. And um Daryl, Gradient Visuals, that's another one that I'm thinking because I introduced you guys.
Facts, facts,
Yeah,
facts.
so those would be my three that came to the top of my
Okay.
head.
Well, I think those are all three wonderful choices. So after this episode, I'll definitely be making my thumbs work to, if you can
Screaming.
help me, you know what I'm saying?
Screaming.
You know,
Yeah.
shoot them a text, make a little group chat, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? If you can give me
Okay.
the CP3, I DeAndre Jordan to jump off the backboard. You know what I'm saying? I promise you I'll finish it. You feel me? I just need the assist. You know what I'm saying?
Fair. Fair.
Yeah.
Respect it.
All right, man. This has been a wonderful time. I always end off every episode just giving people their flowers, man. So I feel like number one, I want to say on behalf of just the Swish Cultures angle, like I said, as a hooper, being able to see what you guys have been able to do is super incredible. Number one, even before I got into this kind of content space, just from a pure hooper standpoint, like the work that you guys do, just with the highlights, showcasing overseas hoops and being an overseas hooper now myself, I appreciate it that much more because nobody was really giving overseas hoopers the platform before you guys were. So just seeing the work that you guys do with that has been amazing. Seeing being in this space as a creator now and somebody who is trying to grow my own brand and my own platform, seeing 4 African Americans that are in this space has been super inspiring for me. And so I just want to let you know that it's just super inspirational to be able to see what you've been able to do with Swish Cultures along with the rest of your
Thanks.
co-founders. And I know I'm speaking on behalf of myself and the rest of the basketball community that we appreciate everything that you guys are doing, and we're gonna continue to support you guys and tune into your content for sure. And on a personal standpoint, I definitely just want to say, like, even when I met you in LA, like, you were super kind and generous, off the bat. You know what I'm saying? You don't meet that many people like that, especially in LA. Stuff is super transactional out there. Somebody who was super kind.
You can't talk. You tried to take my black card just now. What you mean?
You know what? It's okay. Cause I'm making up for it. You know what I'm saying?
True.
But I just want to let you know, just like I said, how much I appreciate that as well. When being able to kind of just form a genuine relationship with you and kick it. That was super refreshing for me as well. So I can't wait to get back to LA. Hopefully go to some more Clippers games, Lakers games, whatever the case may be at crypto, and be able to kick it again, man. But I want to let you know that I appreciate that a lot. You know what I'm saying? And even introducing me to Daryl, that meant a lot as well, just being able to have that connection. So shout out to you, for being the person that you are and continuing to let your light shine. It means a lot to me, and I'm gonna continue to follow you on your journey and support you and get a laugh out of your content as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And that means a lot to not just me, but also, when I tell my co-founders and just, how much work and effort we're putting into creating something so special for the community. Yeah, that's super nice. So I appreciate it. And shout out to you, man. Like, I'm gonna say it because I don't know if you recorded it already, but it has to be almost 4 o'clock out there, 3, 4 ish, and you out here in the morning, mind you, out here taking time out of your sleep, and then you got practice to really do what you love. It takes a lot of heart, and it's very difficult. So shout out to you and keep grinding because it's going to pay off, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. People, we see you where we know how the grind is, and if people are telling you to stop, keep going, because there's always going to be that one person, and when you're the closest to your dreams, that's when the most difficult stuff starts to happen. So we're here for you mentally, emotionally, relationship, how we can help you build your brand. Yeah, so if you ever just need to talk about how we can help you, you already know we got you on this end.
I appreciate it. That's all love, and I think that even means more to me coming from somebody who's been there and done that and has had them same type of late night grinds and stuff like that. So I appreciate it. And this definitely won't be the last time we talk. Like I said,
Yeah, for sure.
We'll spin the block on this in a couple years, man. When you guys are on I don't know what y'all gonna be. Y'all gonna be the biggest sports platform in the world by then.
Hey, look, we gonna be neighbors. We gonna be neighbors in Beverly Hills one day and just be like, man, you remember that podcast we did 2 years ago? I'm gonna say 2 years ago because I'm trying. Let's hurry up.
Period.
Let's hurry up.
Period.
So that's gonna be so fun.
Let's do it, man. Now shout out to you again, man. And guys, if you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, again, make sure you guys are liking this podcast, subscribing to this podcast, give us a thumbs up, give us a 5-star rating. It goes a long way. This has been another episode of the What's in Your Bag podcast presented by Bet Online. We'll catch you guys on the next one, folks. Peace.
Suave. I've been in my bag for a while, I'm invincible. Story of a young boss, grinding shit get critical. Calling on my bros one time, cause you special. I had some hoop dreams of right rounds for my mentor. Every target that I shoot is on point like a pencil. Different route, change relationships, I'm so sorry. Came up from the trenches and I made it, I say hardly. Now